Local programming on KRWG Public Media made possible in part by viewers like you. Thank you. Hi, I'm Scott Mercado with KRWG Public Media, and I'd like to welcome you to this episode of Music Spotlight. For 13 years, our guest was a singer, songwriter, and guitarist with the group The Hard Road Trio, who, along with Steve Smith on vocals and mandolin and Ann Luna on vocals and bass, made music that she described as original acoustic music at the crossroads of roots and bluegrass. Her last solo album, When the Day Comes, was released in 2022, and she's currently putting the finishing touches on a new one, which will be titled Sanders Songs. Please welcome Chris Sanders to KRWG Music Spotlight. Well, Chris, you have had an interesting musical journey leading up to joining the Hard Road Trio in 2009, wasn't it?
Something like that.
Give us a brief overview of your musical journey up to that point.
And I'm going to go backwards
and
start with the call that I got from Steve Smith early in the 2000s to be a backup singer for him. The next thing I knew, we were writing music together, and the Hard Road entities happened. Before that, during that, I was adjunct professor of vocal studies at both NMSU and UTEP. And at both places I had jazz groups, jazz vocal groups. Cider Jazz was the one in Las Cruces, that just wonderful group. And before coming to Las Cruces, I worked in a band in the Oakland area called Mystery. In the Oakland area, I also delivered singing telegrams.
Oh, wow.
That was fascinating. I got marriage proposals and things like that.
Did you?
It was a great gig. Before that, I was in Durango, and I was in a band there called Blue Earth, and also worked in a duo called Guard and Middich. And then as we go further into the depths of my life, I was in a wonderful college choir when I was at Concordia College that toured all the way through the United States and into Europe. And I'm the product of a wonderful public school music education. And I give a shout out to Glenn Evenson, who was my band director in high school. And I give a shout out to my mom also, because my first musical influence was my mom playing her piano downstairs. And I heard Chopin wafting up into my bedroom.
And do you have a songwriting process? Lyrics first, music first?
Well, ironically, the last couple of songs I've written are to lyrics that someone else gave me. I got songwriting in earnest started with Steve Smith, and there was definitely a collaborative process where we'd throw ideas out, and then magically a song would occur. And basically, I've kind of evolved into the place where usually I'll be strumming and I'll come up with a chord structure I like. Then a melody will occur, and then magically lyrics will come. Some topic will arrive. And I also, the collaborative process for me has turned more into the kind of thing where I always seek out an editor for what I write. I always want feedback. I want to know if it can be shaped better. And I love working with other songwriters in that same capacity as an editor.
And you put out 6 albums altogether, roughly?
Probably. I've kind of lost count.
Why did they disband, or why did you decide to disband?
So the Hard Road Trio, I like to think of it in the analogy of airplanes. I feel like Ann's career is taking off, and I feel like Steve is flying high, and I'm landing because I have a granddaughter just 6 months old in Orange County, California, and a 94-year-old mom in South Dakota. And so I feel I want to land because I need to be home more, and also to explore some things that I can't do while I'm playing in a band.
Well, you're getting ready to perform a couple of your solo stuff next, and then we'll talk about your last couple of solo songs. So if you could, you and Steve come back to the stage and perform those?
Oh, would love to do that. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Chris Sanders.
Storms coming in,
dry as a bone. Storm's coming in, you can smell it coming on. Thunder finds its way to the center of my heart. Lights go out, it's lonely in the dark. Storm is coming, it's dry as a bone. Going back to the place I've always been. Going back to the place again and again, wanting shelter and the way to hear the sound of my own thoughts and rain falling down. Storm is coming, it's dry as a bone. If I could only stay till the time when rain on my lips is better than wine. If I could only wait till waters rise, then float away. Breaking even, keeping track, keeping score. Breaking even, keeping track, and the slamming of the door when the wind is stronger and this feeble grip I hold. Storm moves on, it's been a bad one, I am told. Storm is over and it's dry as a bone. Storm is over and it's dry as a bone. Storm is over and it's dry as a bone. Sometimes I think it's never gonna rain. Sometimes I think it's never gonna rain. Sometimes I think it's never gonna rain. And I'd like to introduce the other part of the duo here today. This is Steve Smith from Las Cruces, New Mexico.
Thank you. Thank you.
Happy to have you here.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, this is a tune called Crack in the Sky. 1, 2, 3, 4. Crack in the sky, a hole in the moon. We're leaving again, leaving, no going back. I go to the car to see what's to come. Do you thinking daily now. How now, oh sacred cow, can so much distance be contained in a space too small to comprehend? And I will love you from afar. You're the moon and I'm a star. The heat is in reflected light. So good night, moon, good night, good night. Sad freedom growing in, getting over the ancient sin. Sad freedom growing old, the dark is warm and the light is cold, and it isn't winter, isn't spring. I love you so, and here's the thing, with all I know and all I have, your life is more than I can say. And I will love you from afar. You're the moon and I'm a star. The heat is in reflected light. So good night, moon, good night. Good night, moon, good night. Good night, moon, good night. Good night. Good night. Good night. This last one we're going to do is called Roll in the Night. Take it away, Steve.
1, 2, 1.
Jenny loved a bad boy from the wrong side of the track. That was trouble, it's what they say. The good boys had a number, but she never called me back. Played hard to get till he came her way. Had a fire inside him since the day when he was born. Only Jenny's kisses cool the flame, and a wall of ice around young Jenny's heart melted at the mention of his name. Ooh, warm, restless night. Roll down the window, roll down the window. Ooh, wild, reckless ride. Roll down the window, roll in the night. Jenny told her bad boy, won't you take me for a drive? High time we find out the unknown, burying their secrets in the shelter of the dark, with the whisper of the wheels on the road. Ooh, warm, restless night.
highway, ghost town Tokyo, full moon shining every mile. Over the border into wide New Mexico, you're looking back, he says, and she smiles. Ooh, warm, restless night. Roll down the window, roll down the window. Ooh, wild, reckless ride. Roll down the window, roll in the night. Roll down the window, roll in the night. Roll down the window, roll in the night.
Well, Chris, let's move on to your solo career. You just performed a couple of solo songs, including one. Your first solo album was the album was called Rare Bird. And talk about that song, Roll in the Night.
You know, Roll in the Night is what actually I started thinking about it when I was in church, and it started rolling through my mind, this tune, and remembering what it was like to be 16 years old in Illinois in the hot, sweaty summer, and how exciting it was to be out driving with the windows down and to have a crush on a really bad man, or bad boy then.
Bad boy.
Bad boy.
And your previous song was Good Night Moon. Now, that was from your album When the Day Comes, and that came out 2 years ago. Now, what were you trying to do musically with that album that you didn't do with the Hard Road Trio albums? Were you consciously wanting to go in a different direction?
Yes.
And what direction or directions were those?
So the direction is, well, for one thing, having drums, Derek Lee on drums, and doing things that were more jazz oriented, and also I think there were a couple things that were born during the COVID epidemic, when I had time to stay home and learn how to finger style. This is what it takes for me to practice. Is an epidemic, is for me to stay home and practice. So a lot of that album evolved, and Good Night Moon was one about just, you know, a way of looking at a family, at a relationship. And it started off as a jazz tune, but my friend Elizabeth Westberg, right down the street, I thought, no, what can the two of us play? And it turned into what it is now, so that we could play it together.
Well, let's move on to your forthcoming album, Sanders Songs. That's almost finished. What stage is it in right now? We're
still mixing. We're looking at perhaps a December release and a couple of concerts in December to celebrate. I'm recording at Star City Studios in El Paso. The previous, I've done, When the Day Comes was recorded at The Cave, which is Steve Smith's studio. So it's many of the same persons that are on the When the Day Comes are on this album, but I venture into more rock, and my son Curtis plays electric guitar on it. Nice. Which is amazing, and it's being produced by Eric Bozeman.
Well, before we leave, we have about a minute or so left. One of your pet projects, and one that I've been a part of many times, is the Desert Night Acoustic Music Camps. That's at the Black Range Lodge in Kingston. When did that start?
That started 11 years ago, and it was a project that was started between Catherine Wanick at the Black Range Lodge and myself and the Hard Road Trio. And it's a way really for adults to get away and immerse themselves in music, and in a way that is, well, it is summer camp. It's where you, instead of craft projects, we craft our instruments and have delicious food. And if you go to dnamusiccamp.com, you can find out more information.
All right. My thanks to you, Chris Sanders, for being our musical guest on KRWG Music Spotlight.
It has been my pleasure, Scott.
Be sure to catch our past performances on YouTube and like us on Facebook to keep up with future episodes. For KRWG, I'm Scott Mercado, and thank you for joining us for KRWG Music Spotlight.